Okay, so here we go for emergency equipment checks. I'm going to start with this BLS tower. This is actually hanging on the front. Make sure that you go through each drawer and that everything listed here is in the drawers. You want to make sure in the bottom two drawers, let me just show you. Bottom two drawers do have N95s and isolation stuff for if we do have an RT. You want to make sure you have all your ANBU bags. The Zoll should be plugged in here, and it should also be plugged in here so that it charges. It should have the adult pads that are not expired hooked up to it. And then on the back, you have a few cables that are important, namely this one, which is for your end-tidal CO2. And then this is an end-tidal CO2 monitor, but we also have that in this drawer right here. Okay, so for checking the Zoll, first you're going to turn it on.
Attach pads.
Hit manual mode. You want to take your energy down to 30. I'm doing a video, don't worry. Okay, so then you're gonna hit the charge button. It's gonna tell you that it's ready to charge, so you hit the charge. It's telling you the test is okay, so you turn it off. And then up here, you just write the date, time, and your initials that you checked it. Pretty easy. You also want to check that you have 2 pharmacy boxes that are locked, and then make sure that you look, try not to drop it on my head, at the expiration date. They're not expired. You should have your restraint supplies. As you go across, you want to make sure that everything is plugged in and charging. We do have 2 pulse ox monitors, but we only have 1 base, so feel free to switch it out as you see fit. Make sure that this is all plugged in, and I like to just turn these on and make sure they actually work. Day shift nurses, you will also come over here and do your QC for your glucometer. This is a battery for the bladder scanner, and then these are extra batteries for the CRM monitors. We also have more restraint stuff here. And then once you, oh, just kidding. And then also the crash cart, you want to make sure that this also is locked. And then I think we used to have these ANBU bags on that side, but that's okay. All right, after you've filled after you've looked at everything, you're gonna come in here and fill this out, put your name down here, and kind of go across. I'm just gonna scroll across so you can see. This is making sure, I think that some people miss this, that the tank on the cart is in the green zone. And then you sign. So you should only have 1 month's worth of sheets in the binder. And then at the first of every month, you'll start a new sheet. And the last month's sheets will go into Softness mailbox. This is another binder that just has all the CPR cards for every weight printed out. It also has some adult staff visitor dosing for a peds RT if you had to call an RT on an adult. The last thing you just want to check during your charge checks, sorry, bear with me, is you want to make sure that your oxygen tanks are where they need to be. And speaking of, oh, I couldn't find the red one. The red thing should be here. But you want to make sure that if you have any empties, or if you have any that are like starting to get empty, that they're all in the right place according to these sheets that are up here. And that's about it. All right, so for your playroom emergency equipment, you're just gonna go through both of these boxes. Make sure that you have your ambu bag, your non-rebreather, suction catheters, etc., etc. And then you're just gonna make sure you fill it out on here. Both night shift and day shift need to do this. I know that we haven't been using the playroom recently, but Sapna made a good point. That if we were to have an RRT like in the hallway, we would still need this equipment. And we wanna make sure that everybody keeps checking it because eventually we will use it. Also, make sure that your suction setup over here is working and that all of this stuff works as well. And that's it for the playroom. All right, here's the charge nurse clipboard. You have your 24-hour charge nurse worksheet. This is where you'll write all of your admissions, age, diagnosis, service, whether or not you have acceptance or orders, rooms set up or not, where they're coming from, the room number, are they IMC, and who is getting them. You'll put your discharges down here, any procedures over here, and then here is your charge nurse responsibilities checklist. This doesn't necessarily have to be checked off because you'll throw this sheet away at midnight anyway, but this is just a little helpful reminder to let you know what you need to do during your shift. Other things on this clipboard are today's assignment, the shift before their assignment. This is your bed tracking sheet. On this, you should have a copy of this in your folders, but just make sure that this is filled out as your day goes on. And if it's starting to look gross like this, you can always rewrite it. We're also doing audits. I'm sorry, not audits, but we're also checking if they have CRM or pulse ox, making sure you put in their primary and secondary nurses. And then on the back, this is one of the newer things that we're doing. We asked that all the charge nurses just go through each room and double check to make sure that everybody has oxygen and suction regulators. If you're seeing extras in like non-cardiac rooms or something like that, you can always take them out and put them in the bin at the top of the cabinet at the purple nurses station, but just make sure that you note it in here. Let's see. This is the OR list that the night charge nurse gets from Shifty. That kind of shows you where kids are coming from. Usually it has the times on here, but it doesn't on this one. Oh yes, it does. I'm an idiot. So it'll just show you who's coming out to us. This is one of Megan Levis's PC ICU initiatives. We're supposed to be writing, this is really to track bounce backs, but also just to track our admissions as well. So you want to make sure that you put their name, the date and time that they were put on the list to come, the time that you got acceptance for them to come to the floor, when they actually got to the floor, and then if they bounce back, just to give like a date and time, why, and also when they were able to come back to us. This is kind of a lot of work, but it's helpful for us to be able to track so that we can address any issues. This is your sheet for Huddle. Huddle is, the Zoom links are down here. Sorry, it's all shiny, you can't see it. But it's at 5:15 on day and night shift. You'll just clean this off and you'll go through it on the Zoom. And then on the back, it does have whether or not you need sitters or security, if you have any visitor restrictions, call outs, if you need a travel nurse, anything like that. And then the last thing is something that is maybe helpful for newer nurses for making an assignment. This is a laminated sheet. Katie actually made this. So this are things to consider as you're making your assignments. And it's just a good way for you to kind of have like a working worksheet, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. Okay, so here's the charge nurse binder. Hopefully you guys have had some time to look through it. I'm not going to flip through every single thing, but here is the PCICU share time algorithm. We've been so full lately that we haven't really been sending people, but there's the information for that. Here is the indirect time list. Also, we've been so full, so we haven't really been doing this lately, but if you are giving somebody IN time but they don't have any projects, here's some ideas of what they could do. Here's your guys' information. Here is cardiac share time dates. Also in the front we have orientee schedules, and then we get to the rosters. I'm sure you guys have seen these before, but I just want to point out a few things. Make sure that when you're writing on here that you are putting whether or not they were charged. You want to also put if somebody called out and if somebody needs to be called in. Hold on, I just saw one. Maybe it was taken out. You would put over here called in, what time they were called in your initials. If you're calling somebody off, you want to make sure that you write called off for low census. And you can, if somebody wants to use holiday time first, you can indicate that. And just make sure that you also write how many hours they got. So if they left at 3, or if they were only called off for 4 hours or something like that, you want to put that on there. So there's the rosters in the front. Here's the visitor exception request process. Some more stuff for you. This is some more information about how to fill out the rosters if you are writing on them. We put the scheduling guidelines in here so you can read through. It does have the call-off guidelines in there as well. Some scheduling stuff was moved in here. Oh, here's the call-off due to low census guidelines. Here's a list of team leaders and charge nurses, in case you forget. Here are the call-off dates, phone numbers. This is the patient assignment sheet. The unit census is in here. Your 24-hour worksheet. This is if you have a student, student nurses. The clinical instructor fills this out, and this does go, this gets kept in this binder, the old assignments binder, as well as any old nursing assignments, such as this. So this is from yesterday, and then here's the Carroll Community College sheet. So just make sure you put all that stuff in there. Also in here, let's see. You have stuff about sitter coverage, your stickers. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen these before, but if you do have a sitter, you need to put their name, the number, and also like what times they're here. And you will take that and put it on the roster itself. There's a million stickers. The back of this has some resources for you, including the Department of Pediatric Nursing organizational model. This is a good, this is actually from the policy on admission orders and acceptance guidance, which we'll talk about a little bit more. Daily charge nurse responsibilities and team leader responsibilities. The multidisciplinary team that participates in the huddles. This is support services chain of command, if you need to go up the chain for any of these services. Case manager coverage over the weekend. Food and dining services escalation. We've got, that might be old, the policy for adult RTs, like for parents. The escalation algorithm for the PCICU patients. If you need to set up a PUI, you can use this little cheat sheet. We have what we can use to disinfect for COVID. This is if you have special order items for specific patients. This shows you how to put in an order. We also have, let's see, oh, this is how to get in touch with IR. This is stuff about clean the clutter. And then this locker combo is for the locker with like Suhaila stuff with all the snacks and whatnot. So that is the charge binder. Christina made this great charge nurse quick reference binder. So if you guys can, you know, take some time to look through this when you get a chance, she's got some great info in here for you, some important protocols to pay attention to, more daily charge nurse stuff, setting up a room. These are automatic RRTs. I'll just keep it here for a second so you can read. And then these are from policies on potassium. This is like fluid bolus guidelines. DART, another thing about adult family member RRTs. This is for disaster action. In the event of a disaster. What do we have here? CPR goals. So this is just a nice little reference for you. This is the primary nursing binder. Please don't make any changes unless you're these people. But if you're getting a kid that is a frequent flyer, just make sure that you look in here to make sure that you're not missing out on any primary or secondary nurses. You can also check the huddle board because sometimes it is written up there but hasn't been transcribed into the binder yet. So just make sure you have those ready to go for your primary nurses. I'm sure that most of you know how to do this already, but if you do have a narcotic discrepancy, in the bottom right hand corner you'll see an icon that will alert you that you have a discrepancy. And when you sign in under station management, there'll be a little icon here that you can hit to try to document the discrepancy. You'll be able to see who made the discrepancy. And then your responsibility as charge is to fill out this chart, indicate whether or not you resolved the discrepancy, and if you need to email the RN to do it on their next shift, then you'll put that under the comments section.